Welcome back, everyone. This is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. You are looking at my latest purchase. It will surprise none of you who watch my channel regularly that this is a Singer 201-2. Any Singer 201 I'm excited to get a hold of. The main thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today was in my purchasing series, I often talk about the things I look at, the things I can't look at. During COVID with doing social distancing and so forth. And wanted just to explain to all of you when I choose to take a machine and when I do not. And so the title of this video is going to be the 201 I purchased and the 201 I passed over. I don't pass over 201s easily. You guys know this. They're one of the most incredible machines ever made. There were a lot of incredible machines made. If you don't have a Singer 201 or you're thinking about a different machine, don't feel badly. It doesn't mean that you need a 201. But for certain types of sewing, it's really hard to beat in the vintage sewing machine world. Now, a couple of things to mention here. This is unusual because this machine is in pretty okay shape aesthetically. There are going to be some issues with it, but there are very often. But this is the machine that I chose to buy, and it may not be obvious as to why. If I had the one I didn't buy, obviously I would have bought it. I could have shown it to you, but I'll describe it and explain why I passed on it. So this is a 201-2 Singer. It has what has been popularly come to be known as the potted motor, and you see it right here. Someone at some point coined this term thinking, well, it looks like a pot, we'll call it that. Singer did not. Singer called it, I believe, direct feed or direct drive. This is a motor that was originally put on the Singer 101, which is a forerunner to the 201. And this motor would eventually be replaced by another direct drive motor, and those are the motors you find in Singer 301s, 401s. Not necessarily because there was a quality difference, but I believe those motors were less costly to manufacture and a lot easier to service. The amount of time that goes into just disassembling a potted motor, going into it, is pretty substantial. But the quality is remarkable. They are amazing. If you have a domestic sewing machine, and it would be a Singer if you had one with a potted motor, they're some of the strongest ever made. If you can't sew it with a potted motor Singer, you're probably needing to get yourself a industrial or light industrial machine. Now, this is the machine I chose to keep. If you're not sure, because Singer 201s are, whether it's the potted motor or the traditional the other 201, which we often see listed as the 201K because they were built in Kilbowie, Scotland, those machines are much more common in Canada, whereas in the US it's the reverse, right? The most common of the 201s you see in the US market are the 201-2s or the potted motor. They do not use a belt. Okay, now if you're looking at one head on, you might think, well, gosh, they sure look similar. But there are actually a number of differences that should be hopefully easy to notice. The 201-2 with the potted motors have a front-mounted light fixture. And this one, I think someone has added a LED light. If not, I was going to, because if you touch this with your hand in the traditional light bulb, ouch, it gets pretty hot. And it's useful for a number of reasons, and there are reasons why I really prefer the LED bulbs. Now, the other thing, obviously, if you're looking at the front, you'll see what looks like a little shaft here. It's really a grease port. There are two of them. This one you can see because it's facing us. Let's zoom in a bit here, and we'll show it to you guys. Okay, and of course, this version that has the potted motor has a light switch here, right? It's just an on or an off toggle switch. And so the light is wired through what many of us know, if you're not completely new to vintage Singers, the 3-pin terminal. This is one of my favorite parts of vintage Singers because it makes wiring, replacing wiring. It's just, it was designed for people who were repairing or maintaining things. And you can tell if you work on enough machines, you'll realize that Singers are comparatively a joy to work on. I'm not saying they're easy, but compared to some of the machines I've dealt with, they are a joy. Now, if you have a 201, depending on how old it is, you may have this fluted design here. The fluted design, I keep twirling this thing around like a carousel. You see it on the back, right? The earlier versions have a scroll, sort of a decorative floral scroll type design. The quality and the material, I believe, are the same. It's just that the design changed. It's a subtle design change over the years. We have don't worry, this desk is laminate. It's not scratching. It's not wood. I wouldn't do that. This is, of course, the Singer button style foot pedal. I have not inspected. I haven't inspected any of this yet. There's one little foot missing. I think it may have been dropped in the box where it is. It looks like someone may have replaced it. And this came with the machine, by the way, 2 extra. It also came with a newer cord. Now, you guys have seen, I've mentioned to you before, I've used new replacement cords and pedals on these machines. They work great. This one says made in Taiwan. If you're not sure if it's an original, it's a good way to look at it, even if you can't see where it was made. This has sort of a rubber block, okay? And there's no way to access it. It's a sealed block. It was designed, and I don't know how you can see where the cord goes in here. But these are great. I see brass on the inside. Now, is it made the same quality as the original? Maybe not, but it certainly is fine. I have no problem using these when I overhaul machines. In fact, I've had a machine that I've kept for myself for a while in the past, and it had a new cord. For some people, getting new cords, it's just simpler. Not everyone wants to do wiring projects. These are very reasonably priced. You can get them on the internet. You just specify, make sure you get the right one. Vintage Singers are a little bit easier to get the right cord for. There were a couple of designs over the years, but Singer at least kept the same design in production for a long enough time. But just check your model number listing and you can get them. So yeah, it's made in Taiwan, but I think they function very well. You can get new, actually, let's see if I have one I can show you guys. Here's one right here. Some of my clients prefer electronic pedals to the original, so this is a generic, and this is a double lead, okay? So you can see the cord comes out one side and it comes out the other, meaning when you plug this into the terminal, this end here goes into the wall, and you're good to go. And there you are. As long as your machine is functioning properly, this will work fine. So I really like these. They're you're not going to pay a fortune. If you were getting something like this for a European machine, prepare to pay a lot more. And I think it's just about supply and demand. There are so many vintage Singers out there compared to the other brands. Okay, so we've got a new cord. I have the original pedal, which I can... you can attach pedals to cords, but the cord that came with this, which was the replacement I was just showing you, it is a single lead, right? Single lead. There's just, and the other side is capped. Why? The reason for this is, like a number of Singer machines, the foot pedal was wired into the terminal directly. And this was done largely for being able to have the foot pedal could be used for knee control. The foot pedal could also be tucked away inside the machine. It was all about making things look tidy and less messy in a house, basically. It was more for home decor purposes than anything else. But it's a nice option to have if you wanted it. And I've had machines where I've taken foot pedals that were originally wired to the terminal, and I've actually put them on new cords that were double lead, not the single lead like you see here. So it's a wonderfully flexible system. Now, you might think, okay, you've got a pretty nice looking cord. Now, even though it's newer, right, I'm still going to take my fingers as well as my eyes. I'm going to do a visual inspection, and I'm also going to put between my finger and thumb and just pull it slowly through, making sure that there are no cuts or abrasions. Sometimes a cord that is not old, it's not dry rotted, but it gets damaged. Who knows? They get pinched, they get rolled over. I don't know how people manage to do it. Sometimes they get cut, which is not something you want. So, but as long as you've inspected the cord is good to go. Well, as we come around here, you will see, let's lower the camera view, you guys can see. At some point in its history, this foot pedal, it's all coiled around the machine here, this foot pedal was rewired. First of all, this is this is not the original Singer cord, and I can tell, there's no date stamp on it, but I can tell it's not the original, and it's pretty new. And you can see even some of the print here, and I see a little connector here. That's not original. Now, you might look at that and think, oh, that's great. It's been rewired. The foot pedal's been rewired, and it's got a new cord. I should be good to go. Well, no. What I was able to do was I was able to plug it in, and I just gently tried just pushing it because I knew I had movement in the hand wheel. If anything up here is locked, don't even plug it in and try it. Okay, you're not going to help yourself. You could damage the machine. In this case, I did, but what I saw, it's moving very slow, but this machine is way overdue for a cleaning and lubrication. I don't know how long it's been used, but it's hurting. Now, back to the motor. If you look here, I'm going to give one more, I'm going to lower one more time. And then we're going to zoom in here, guys, because I want you to see this. Now, there are two electrical cords that come into the terminal. One goes to the light, but the other comes from the motor, okay? And that, excuse me, I'm sorry. These are each coming from the motor. Now, when the cords come out of the motor, these are the cords that are most often in need of replacement. I don't know if I can actually show this to you. Not sure if I can actually get that pictured for you, but the wires that are coming out of the motor typically are those that need the most help or the most repair over time, okay? So it's not unusual to have a cord coming out of a potted motor and it's got splits, it's dry rotted. They often need attention because they've just been exposed. Now this one has a covering. It's not heat shrink, it's electrical tape. Now the tape looks tight, but as I mentioned to you all before, I don't like and do not use electrical tape for any kind of permanent repair. If you were trying to test something, there are people who do try that with electrical tape, but again, I'm not a fan of it because it does not, it's not permanent. Heat and cold can cause it to unravel, and it's not permanent in my eyes, and I won't use it. So there you go. But the fact that it's been used means I'm going to be taking this tape off at some point. I'm going to be taking the wires out, and then I've got to see what kind of shape this wire is in, because I don't know if they took the old cord and wrapped tape around it. Now you might say, well, hey, somebody's already repaired it. Why are you messing with it? Why don't you just leave good enough alone, clean it, oil it, and let it go? Well, the thing is, I don't know how it was done. It might have been done very well. In fact, these connections here may be perfectly fine, but taking the terminal off and inspecting it is not hard. I can do that very quickly because of this Singer design. And the other thing I need to do is I need to look at what is underneath this tape, because very often what happens with an old cord is the jacketing or the wrapping around the cord goes bad and it starts to crumble or crack. Inside of that are the two wires, and each of those wires should have their own covering, but that covering also gets brittle and cracks, and you do not want electricity transferring between the two wires in the cord. Remember, the cord is made up of two wires in this case. So what does that mean? That means I've got to take these wires out. I'm going to unravel the tape. I'm obviously going to be taking the potted motor off. It's got to be serviced anyway. And when I do that, that's when I plan on, I will be disconnecting the wires that go into the terminal. I will be opening up the motor, but now I've got to see what's underneath that tape, right? Did someone take each wire and cover it and then tape them up together? I don't know. Because you guys have seen me working before, and you know that every metal wire must be covered. You cannot have exposed wire. It's too dangerous. And so I'll be doing that. I'll be taking all of this off, and I will be inspecting it, and we'll take a look and see what we need. So when I see this, I had a couple options. I could have waited. Whenever you get a machine and someone's rewired it, you may want to give it more inspection before you plug it in and try it, because you don't know. Unless you can do it with them there and they plug it in and they show you that it works. Okay? So if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the right way, not the quick and fast way. Let's see, what else do we have here? I have, I think this is something I recall. Let's zoom back out a little bit. You will see this is there's a spring that allows the bobbin winding tire to rest on the hand wheel, so it will turn when you're winding a bobbin. When you pull this up, it should snap up, and it's not. Now, what I don't know yet is I don't know if the spring itself has gone bad. If so, not a big deal. I can get replacements for these. They're super cheap. I don't know, they're $1, less than $2 or something. The shipping, the mail would cost more on it. And I can replace it if I need to. So I don't need to replace this whole piece, right? That's one of the great things of the vintage era. And that's not just sewing machines, but a lot of different consumer items. When you needed to repair something, you could take something like this that was not functioning, you took it off, you replaced a part within it, and then you put the whole piece back on and made it run again. Today, most things are made with modules of components, and when a component dies, it gets thrown in the trash. And you guys know this if you've ever had to repair or pay someone to repair, say, a big kitchen appliance or an automobile. It's cheaper to manufacture in those newer ways, but it's more costly to repair. Anyway, so there's that. What else have we got here? We have cord control. If I lift up here, I can see my feed dogs moving, so I know that my stitch length control is moving rather smoothly. That's nice. And if I come over here, my feed dogs they seem to be moving okay. Again, I really don't know how this machine will stitch at this point, but it was a 201, and because 201-2s are less common in Canada, I thought, you know what, I haven't done a direct drive 201 in a long time, and I was looking forward to it. And I am looking forward to it. So I chose to buy this one. In the next video, I will talk to you guys about the Singer 201 I turned away. And I don't do that often, guys. In fact, I think it might be the first time I ever turned a 201 away. So I'll talk about that and the reasons why, and why you might not. You might have taken it, but in my case, I chose to pass it by. Thanks for watching, folks. Just wanted to show you that when you buy a machine and it looks like it's had a repair, you don't necessarily know how it was repaired. Now, if you got it from a sewing machine repair place and they say they repaired it, you might have a little more confidence, depending on their reputation, that it was repaired properly. You can, I don't know about making any assumptions with that, but that's something you would have to ponder. But with someone I got this from, I don't know who did the repair. It could be great. They could have done a good job, but I need to look underneath and I need to know for sure before I overhaul this machine. So thanks for watching, guys. I don't know when we're getting some playlists set up for the channel, and I suspect the Singer playlist is going to have it done by model. There are so many great vintage Singer machines that if I just make one playlist under Singer, it could be a long search of that playlist. But I appreciate you watching. Had a little sunlight out today. And I'm hoping this summer that this machine will be given time. I'll have some time to do its overhaul, and it will hum once again. Thanks for watching, everybody.